Hey guys, James Riley here from Goliath Historical Fencing Academy, here today with a video review. So this past weekend we did some workshops down in Florida, got to meet people from Bold City and Jacksonville, KDF Fencing and St. Augustine, and then we did a big event that was held in Orlando at Crossroads, but was attended by a number of different clubs from everywhere from Miami, Tampa, all over the state. So it was a really great experience. Really fun to meet all of the fencers down there and do some training. I also got to fence with my good friend Will, whose bout with me we actually ended up catching on film. Got it on two different types of film. So as you can see, we've got a bit grainy footage that's kind of almost CCTV footage. But then we also had someone who was watching our bout come and take a look and take out their camera. So that was the guy from Canopy. We had him send us the footage so that we can do some review. So the idea here is just putting into practice some of the theory that we spend lots of time with reviewing on this channel. So without any further ado, let's get into it. And yeah, so we're here. So we'll look at this for a minute. We're right at the edge of Sufechten. And I begin by stepping in and bringing my sword forward. And this is actually a provocation action. So I'm looking to catch his defensive action indes. And as you can see here, I do. So I begin to bring my cut forward, and my center of mass is still over my in between my two legs as I'm bringing that. And just as his sword just as it becomes clear that his sword is going to intercept my cut, you can notice, look at my hands and the way that they change the side that I'm attacking from so that I can hit. So that's really, really important there, that this cut is meant to blow through his parry. If I see that his parry is not going to be structured well enough to withstand, so for instance, if he looked at take and long point in this situation, then I'm going to continue my offensive action as a Schießen. If he looks to take and plow, my goal is probably to do a Zucken. In this case, this is not a Zucken action, it's rather an Umschlagen action. You see how I'm going around his sword because he goes so high with the point. But then we can look at it again from this angle. So I bring my point forward, I'm looking for the parry, I see. Just as I see his hands start to come up and get in the way of the action, I'm looking to cut around and hit here. And he actually looks to hang here. This looks like it could potentially be a double. Will and I watched this video several times, and we've talked about this since. It was probably a hanging parry, is what Will thinks that he was going for in this case. Notwithstanding, he definitely doesn't hit me at all here. But it doesn't really matter for our purposes right now, because what I really want is just, as I bring my sword forward, you can see that it continues forward until it becomes clear that the defensive action is going to be there. And so I work indes his defensive action to switch. I continue on the course of action that's strong until the last minute. Once he begins to strengthen, I weaken indes that action. So I hit the head, and you can actually see Will here. This is pretty funny. He takes a breath, and he's like, okay, all right. And we're back to it. So now, Will is doing a lot of weakening action here with his sword, but we're not really at distance for me to be able to exploit that. So I'm not looking to work indes any of these types of actions. But as he comes forward, I start to move back. And that's really important, again, that I'm working indes Will's actions. I'm not doing anything erratic. I'm not just doing superfluous motion. As Will starts to move, I start to work with his motion to change things. And then here's where things get a little grainy. There's a kind of a provocation action that's going to make more sense when we look at it from the CCTV footage. So just here it is again. So this is sort of Will catching his breath after the Umschlagen indes to the head. And so Now we're back here in the sutras, and again, look at how our points are crossed at the weak. I have my elbows just about the way I often describe it is like a grapefruit away from my torso in long point. If I'm in plow, my elbows and my wrists will be right up against my torso. But if I'm in long point, I want my arms to be about a grapefruit away, and I want to regulate distance so that his action lands with his weak landing on my cross, with his point not able to reach my deep targets. And so I'm moving him forward here. He moves back as I pressure him forward. We're both in a really nice vage. And here I threaten this side. Now, the last time I provoked to the right, and then he tried to take to the right and committed the taker, and I hit to my left. And this is, I provoked to his left and then hit to his right. This time, he is able to get his defensive action to his right in time. But again, I'm working indes, so this is not eyes closed fencing. I'm feeling my training partner's intention. I'm perceiving the nature of his bind, and I'm only moving as it becomes clear that he is strengthening. I'm working into the weakness as he creates. So as you see, I'm going to my left, his right, and as soon as I see that his arms are moving in that direction, I change again to now my right side, his left, and I hit. And then let's just look back at that hitter again, hitting in long point, keeping my center of mass low, and again, watch for the abzug with a big gather step to pull me out of distance, never allowing myself to stay in the fight uncovered. And whenever I hit a successful hitter, I'm always planning on backing up. So there it is. Now we're back to the cell phone camera footage, and this time, so this is a nice little move here on Will's part. He's actually he brings his sword forward and to my right side, his left. And he gets a little bit of a taker in long point from me, but because I'm not over committing my taker because I'm standing in long point, as he changes sides, I'm able to get around, and he collects on my cross. So I take in long point here, and then immediately my goal is to bring my sword back forward. So this is the same taker that I hit with last time. Last time his hands were a little bit higher, and so but his hands were a little bit higher, but his point was a little bit weaker, and so I actually thought that I hit. In this case, because his hands are lower, which is actually a better case for him, believe it or not, it's better to have your hands lower because that means that you can be strong with your point as well as with your hilt. Then I can't just try and hit through your action. I actually have to win my turn before I can take the offense. So in this case, I win my turn, I collect his action on my cross, and now I begin to turn my sword in towards Will, right? So I don't just hit through his structure with the intention of hitting indes his offensive action as he comes forward. Instead, I have to take and then hit. As I move to hit, it's unclear whether or not I make contact on the mask here, but he feels that and he starts to raise his hilt. So I want to look at the fuelin and indes here. This is Frequenz modus. When people say Frequenz modus, well, when modern humanists tend to use the term Frequenz modus, what they mean is just dance around like you don't know what you're doing. What I'm telling you Frequenz modus means is that as they strengthen, you must weaken, and as they weaken, you must strengthen. As you attain a strong position, you must weaken to hit. That you're never allowing any gap between your options, and as soon as you feel, you're immediately moving. So right now, I've taken on my cross, I'm bringing my sword towards Will, taking on my cross, bringing my sword towards Will, and as I extend, Will does a good job of working indes himself. But notice as he lifts his hilt to try and defend the action, look at my right hand turn over so that I can hit Zek to the belly underneath this Kron parry. So again, I'm strong, he's collected on my sword, I bring my sword towards Will, Will responds by lifting his hand, and as he does, I'm already yielding so that I can hit to the belly here. And then just to polish that off, we're always looking for, after we cut to the belly, we're always looking for a defense stroke. In this case, I hit to the head, and that's how we're doing that. So Will just acknowledges I got the tag to the belly. I'm actually checking here because I kind of put a little pepper on that, gave it a little English. So I'm just making sure that he's all right. Will is very much all right. He's a hardy lad. And yeah, so here we are back in the Sufechten, looking for, really, I'd love to control his point, but Will's not, he's not obliging me. He's not bringing his point forward. And he's resorting to a lot of these cron parries as his defensive action. That's actually something that Will and I will be working on for the foreseeable future. Try and get his hands down around chest level, and then get his point strong, whether that be in a withdrawn posture like plow or a long point Sprechfenster type posture. Right here, this is a pretty solid Sprechfenster, but he's weak. It looks like he's inviting me, but we're too far away for me to do anything with it. Now, as he comes in, I withdraw my blade, but I'm also withdrawing my posture here, or my body, getting my center of mass out of distance for him. If anybody enters my space, my Krieg, in a way that I'm not prepared for, I'm always going to back up because I don't want to be put into motion by anyone. And you see here, Will brings his sword. All I do is just take in long point, and in this case, his hands are high. Now, he actually mirrors me here, which is kind of fun. And we end up just sort of crossing blades on both sides. So that's a nice little action. And then here, I threaten by bringing my sword up to in that Zucken position. Will responds again by keeping his point high. If he were to take in long point here, I could do different things. I could look to control his weak and enter in with the setting strike. But in this case, he keeps his point high, and so I'm always going to target the hands. With his high point, I'm not actually able to get his hands. I'm a little bit out of distance. But then we're back here. I'm in Vomtag, and just as he enters, he gives me this strike. And again, abzuging after the strike. So never allowing myself to be left in those types of situations uncovered. After every hitter, I'm always backing out of distance. And one thing that you might think about is you're not going to be able to reliably back out of distance after a hitter if you're not sure that the hitter's going to land. That means you have to actually learn what those landed hitters are going to look like, when it's appropriate to throw them, when you can reliably hit them, and when you need to back out. And there's actually, we can look one more time here. We're all the way back. We'll look one more time towards the end of this. I throw a little Zek to the hands, and I miss it. He actually pulls himself out of distance right here. That was meant to hit, but he pulls himself out of distance in time, and I'm already backing out, right? Just in case it didn't hit, but I'm backing out anyway. As I see that it doesn't hit, I'm looking for his hands. His hands aren't there, and I'm like, oh crap, I got to get out of here. So I'm even backing out if I don't hit. I'm not staying in the pocket. I'm looking to be deliberate and intentional with my actions, and I'm not allowing myself to be get caught in the pocket trying to hang and bang. It's just not a safe, reliable, or effective way to fence. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was a lot of fun, and look forward to seeing you guys soon.